3, 2, Michelle.
All right, guys, we are going to do a very special micro VGO special report.
We have a guest, an international guest, Michelle.
Georgia Geng, who is sort of an ambassador of the East versus the West. She's worked in publishing for many companies across many continents. And it was interesting. We learned about Wukong, sort of the philosophy of East versus West, what they thought of the feminism debacle, and sort of the big money-making aspects of Tencent, and that they're like making a lot of money and how they do it. So we'd love to have her on as a guest sometime. She'll probably come on VGO sometime in the future as well. So let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any questions for her. She joined our Discord. You can check out her community as well. So let's get right to it, John.
All right, here you go.
All right, so we are here with Georgia Geng, who is basically a jack of all trades here between the East and West. She's worked in video game publishing, marketing. She runs her own website here of an artist community, Artisan. So what's up?
Hey, Michelle, how are you guys?
Good.
Right, yeah. As you said, I'm at the intersection of the East and West. I've been in the U.S. for since 2010, and I've been observing this industry's ebbs and flows, and also the current disputes in the industry regarding its layoffs, the directions of how this industry is going forward in the next few years, and also I see the rise of the Asian market growth in the video games, and also the mobile games is growing strong. And just like simply last year from 2023 to 2024, the PC games rise from Asian market is prominent as well, as you can see on the Steam list. So I'm happy to talk about all these topics and its causes and effects or whatever related to it.
Yeah, this is great. We talk about this a lot on the show. And John, we sort of said that when Wukong came out, we were like, this changes everything here, because now we have a Chinese PC game doing very well here, because generally it was more mobile, but I know Chinese players have been getting more and more into PC. They're all about the PC mobile crossover stuff. And the quality of the games sometimes coming out of the Asian markets just seems better than what we're getting here right now. So the players are gravitating towards these games. I mean, even mobile games, when I play, like I just played Sword of Convaleria and it was so well done. And then I played Elder Scrolls Castles, an American game, and it was terrible. And I'm like, we're just not getting the quality. So talk to us about sort of the philosophy and the work ethic, or the priorities when it comes to development, with how the East versus the West culturally looks at game development.
Well, I know you're talking about Elder Scroll Castle. I haven't played that game yet, but it sounds like a castle building games, or MMORPG games, like a castle upgrading, and like explore the maps, and and I don't know, it's like there's a lot of games coming from China, like the games I have been working on, which is a mega hit. I mean, mega hit not in terms of the PR, like the fame of the game. It's just like the revenue. Their games is like, for example, I work with Lords of Mobile, which is like a strategy MMO game, which is sounds like what you played the game, the what's that?
I've heard of Lords of Mobile. I've heard of that. It makes a lot of money, like you said. Yeah,
Lords of Mobile. There's a category of mobile game in China, which is the strategy MMORPG game. So it's like a castle building, map exploration, join the clans, attack other castles, defend your castles, defend your clans, or just like do kingdom wars. So there's a lot of similar games which constitute a genre of the mobile game, which has been very popular from the Chinese developers across the world now. So not only Lords Mobile, but their counterpart upgraded version sounds like better visuals, better gameplay, and more social functions, like Rise of Kingdoms. I don't know you heard of that, but it's from Lilith's game. It's also the mid-sized games with mid-tier games is like 2,000 or 3,000 employees. That's what I call mid-tier games.
Right.
So they have this sort of similar games, and and there are several like developers based in Beijing, which is called Fun Plus. And Fun Plus, Lilith, and IGG, and also some divisions like Teamy at Tencent Games. They're all doing similar things. Like this is a similar genre. Why they do this genre? Because it generate huge revenue.
Right.
Which is like they're all $1 billion titles. They don't gain a lot of fame in the Western world. Like they're not household names. It's like AAA games or PC games like a Call of Duty, Apex Legends, but they are they are the money reapers.
Are they starting to look at our markets now, though?
Yeah,
and
George, I was going to ask. So I feel like the last few years, like with Genshin Impact and now Wukong, there's a lot of games coming from China. Are people in China looking at Steam now, developers more closely and not mobile so much?
Is there
Yeah. Yes. Yes. The thing is that after the mobile game market now has reached a level of a plateau, or not a plateau, but a sort of maturity level, and they want to expand to a broader audience. That's why they are trying to bring their mobile games to PC platform as well as a console platform. So you will see not only like the PC games has been rising on a Steam list since last year from the Chinese developers, and also they are looking to get their games onto console games. And Wukong is different from most mobile game companies because they start as a console or PC project,
right?
At the beginning. So they're indie studios, so they're different from those mid-tier or.
And how many people at that studio estimated? Do you know that developed Wukong? It wasn't a huge studio, right?
It wasn't. It was like about 200 people. They started from 20 people. Yeah. And then over 4 years expand to.
So you have 200 people making a better quality game than here we've got sometimes 10,000 people on a project. And that's what I was sort of talking about with like, it's the philosophy there in game making where you have 200 people making something fantastic. I mean, it's actually impressive with how well Wukong is done. And John and I both played. We loved it. The visuals were stunning. The gameplay, the combat was tight. And it was a small team, basically. What people would call here is an indie team, like you said.
Yeah, actually, it's surprising that it's their first time making console and PC games.
Yeah, wow.
And it's a mega hit.
Yep.
Yeah, if you see the studios, the game science story that they, it's interesting that most of their employees, their founders, their co-founders, the art directors are all former employees of Tencent Games. So that they, even at Tencent Games years ago, they have been starting to explore how to make best use of the Chinese IPs that like Journey to the West or Three Kingdoms. They have done a lot of experimental projects. Like there's another Wukong related cards game they did before at Tencent. And also later with NetEase, they did a cards game based on the IP of Three Kingdoms. So they have been accumulated this kind of experience since 10 years ago. And it's just like over the past 4 years, they started grow from 20 people to 200 people because they released a trailer of Wukong a preview, and then it gains so much momentum that it attracts so many investors. And these investors help them to grow their team and to support them to continue the development and to the game, mega hit game that we see today.
That's crazy. I mean, Tencent's involved in everything. We've been talking about them for a while, John. I think they even have a stake in one of my favorite games, Path of Exile, which I know is popular in some of the Asian markets. And I'm really looking forward to Path of Exile too. And I think Tencent funds some of Grinding Gear, which is a New Zealand studio. But Tencent's sort of involved in everything. Are they sort of the mediators as well between the East and West to sort of make sure things go smoothly? What's Tencent's role as a whole in your
Aren't they
view?
technically the largest game developer in the world?
No.
Well, I would say they want to be. Tencent is a very ambitious company.
Yeah.
Right. They look
I'm reading
up
here
to-
that they are the largest.
Well, are they saying that, or is everybody?
No, this is on Google. Tencent is the world's largest video game company by equity investments.
Okay.
well, correct on the revenue part. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Well, there's a point in there, but they always looked up to Microsoft and Sony because these two giant corporates has been existing in technology and an entertainment industry for so many years, over 30 years, and they like Tencent looked up to them, but Tencent do not have the influence like Microsoft and Sony. So they have been trying to do overseas marketing or investing globally like since maybe 10 years ago. So it's a long story for them. They are very patient, and they are also like trying to continue partnership with a lot of studios in US, in Europe, in Southeast Asia, including the Pass of Exile. I also see them at this year's PAX West, and their global PR manager are from Tencent. It seems like Tencent is taking over their PR efforts.
Right. I mean, they own Riot Games, percentages of Epic. So, I mean, they're involved in everything. Percentage of Activision Blizzard, 5%, I'm reading.
Yeah, I would say it's like why I admire like AAA Western game studios, because you guys are so good at self-expressions. Like you create these titles based on your own passion, your strong, deep faith in creating a new gameplay, a fun game for the players. But for Tencent, I think they're more like investment machine. Like I think that at first they do want to have their own games, and then they found that they are lacking the ability of innovation and creativity to some extent, so they cannot compete with the AAA companies in the West.
So they invest in people who are creative.
Right. Yeah, that was their strategy. But I think in the future, it's like they want more direct investment in the team, and to maybe facilitate more collaboration between their employees based in Asia and the employees based in California or any other parts of the world.
Interesting. Okay. So what do you think as far as like the games we make here, what are very popular out there? I know Blizzard games are very loved in certain Asian markets, but is there any, what are the threats? You sort of said they look at Sony and Microsoft as what they want to aspire to. And meanwhile, we're here looking at Microsoft going, gee, some of the quality of these games don't look as good as the quality of games. Like that's our perspective here as Americans right now, even looking at Ubisoft right now with what's going on with like the Star Wars game and like the new Assassin's Creed game. They don't look as good as Wukong does, and they don't run as well. So it's funny how both people are sort of envious of the others for their strengths and weaknesses.
Well, the thing is, it's just like recent years, because the Chinese people invested. That's why I initiated this game artist community, because game arts like illustration, animation, and 3D, 2D arts is the foundation of a great piece of artwork.
Yep.
And it also works in the video games because video games is regarded as the nice art form. So it's basically a branch of arts, right? So that's why a lot of the Chinese companies are investing a lot of in art assets. They want to recruit artists who are passionate of polishing their skills in drawing, in fine arts, and in digital softwares. Like they try to actually Wukong, the game science worked a lot with NVIDIA about their like the computer chips and the other like the latest technology NVIDIA has developed over the years.
Yep.
And they also worked on like the highest technology of the engine UE5. They started at UE4, but they transitioned to UE5. So the team has to start over to read the documents and learn everything from scratch. So they invest a lot in the arts assets, and that's why the graphics and animation now seems stunning to you guys. But for Western. Yeah, for Western companies, I think you guys have the ability, definitely have the ability, the history, and the talents to do the things. It's just like because the pandemic time has to slow down a lot of things, and the organization and companies are not full-fledged functioning now. So I think that's why I also want to remind or bring up this topic that to encourage the Western developers to stand back on their feet from the
I'm concerned it's more than that. I think it's a cultural thing. I think like some of the talent has left the industry in our country, I think, because of like maybe what they get paid here, or their passion is different.
Or they're starting indie studios on their own.
Yeah, exactly. I think so you're more hopeful than I am here as far as what we're able to do, but
it's grass is always greener on the other side.
That's right.
So like with Black, is there there was a bit of pushback by U.S. journalists with Black Myth.
Well, yeah, that was stupid.
I'm just wondering though, what do you think of that? Yeah, like what does Asia think of that? I mean, clearly the game is embraced. It sold millions of copies and everyone loves it. But there was a vocal minority that kind of pushed back on this developer.
Right. So Wukong is kind of when it comes out, IGN gives us like 8.1 scores. So, IGN in China gives us like a 10, which shows us like a different hypes in different regions. Like, the people say that they could use Journey to the West and the Wukong game as a tool or mean to promote the Chinese nationalism or help Chinese gamers, help Chinese developers getting more momentum in the Western world. But and there's the feminism issues going around this game.
Do people in China agree with this, or is it just the West misunderstanding the culture?
Right. They disagree with the feminism. Actually, I think gender issue. I personally don't see gender a real issue in the gaming industry.
There isn't. I mean, it's something created by a few weirdo journalists here that people on Twitter run with. And I mean, gamers ourselves, we don't care. It's just something like our media sort of is writing these things that don't represent our thoughts as gamers, which is why on our show, we get to do sort of independent journalism. And I think you get more realness from that compared to going to like Eurogame or whoever's writing these stupid articles. Somebody reviewed the game and they said there were no women in it. She only played for an hour, but there's tons of women in Wukong, and it was just a stupid piece based on nothing. So yeah, I wouldn't even blame the people of this country. It's more the people writing about games in the United States, right? They're just off base.
Yeah, video games companies. If it is like 8 or 10 years ago, I wouldn't choose to work at these companies in China. Either it's at Tencent, NetEase, or at indie studios, because it's full of like a brotherhood thing, and it's all guys, and it's programmers and game designers, level designers, engineers, and it's just like a lack of women naturally. It's not natural. Like the culture. It's not a culture thing. It's just like because guys are good at it.
Yeah, and they love it, and they want to go and work 14 hours and code all day, and women don't want to do that generally, right? It's a natural thing. I don't think it's because they're discriminating against women at the company. It's because it's just a natural thing.
Well, it's a meritocracy, right? So,
all right, well, let's ask you about your website and what you're doing there, and then we'll let you go. So, digitalartistleague.com, right? That's the artisan?
Yes, correct.
So do you hope to sort of like bridge the gap between East and West through art, like through artists? Like, what's your goal here with this?
For this community, like we try to gather together digital artists that break the boundaries, because there's always cultural differences between the East and the West, even in the Middle East or Southeast Asia or Latin America. It's a wholly completely different cultures. So we try to bridging with the artists from across the globe, and to get more artists to expose or to display their artworks, share their art knowledge to the worldwide artists, just to enhance the communication so that they can learn from each other. And if the artist here in America and in California saw, okay, so I love this piece from like Mid East or Georgia country in Europe, and I would love to learn from them, and I would love to integrate some of their style into my art piece of work. If it's not like a copyright infringement, but that's totally okay. So they learn from each other. That's how we as a group, as a whole industry, get advanced, or we innovate, or we move forward. So that's the learning process. Everybody has to be mindful that, you have to have the passion to do better job at the visuals, at the gameplays, to innovate. And the other thing is, I just hope people, like, there's a lot of students, the young generation, the generation Z, and the not millennials, but just
Alpha, whatever.
High school students, or just like college sophomore students, like they major in arts, they major in game design, and I want them to expose to the industry as early as possible. And for those who just graduated, they're having hard time finding jobs or connecting to veterans in the industry. So we provided an opportunity for them to talk to veterans in the industry. So we invited a AAA game studio, game designers or artists for to deliver talking sessions and to do meetups at different locations in California or online.
Awesome. So you've been at all the events like PAX and stuff. And so people want to follow you online. They can go to digitalartistleague.com. You have a Discord as well and a community. So this is fun. We should do this again. We should have you on as our sort of ambassador or liaison when a big, hot Chinese or Asian topic comes up that you know about. But this is kind of what we've been talking about, John, for the past few years here. And I think it's starting to happen here.
No, I think it's exciting because if we get quality games like Wukong, I mean,
competition's good. Do better, America right now. Yeah. I think
so,
it's good.
All right, Georgia. Well, listen, really appreciate you coming on. And again, check her out at digitalartistleague.com. Thanks, Georgia.
Thank you so much.
All right, there you have it. That was Georgia. So that was interesting. The 10-cent thing is interesting to me because the perception that she has is that they're not creative. They're just buying up companies, right? Or copying shit, maybe. I don't know. She didn't say that.
Well,
but
she's saying they are struggling with being able to create their own original IPs. I mean, that's sort of sometimes when you get into the East versus West thing, they say that China's great at sort of, not copying, but doing something and then doing it better. And but even when I listen to a lot of people from the UK, they talk about America, how we're like so much more innovative and creative here. Like that kind of people just sort of respect that, I think, about America, like the creativity.
I guess.
But I feel like we have a lot of creativity right now, but the quality is what I was trying to say. And I know she didn't want to be disrespectful, but the quality of that creativity, where I feel like we're losing. And I feel like hopefully, this lights a fire when quality stuff is coming from globally now, right, John? Like you're competing on a global market now, so you have to make good stuff.
Right. I mean, I think back to the beginning of console gaming, like Nintendo forward. It was dominated by Japanese developers, Asian developers, right?
Yep.
And then
usually the Chinese developers stayed in their lane of mobile.
Well, I know, but that was maybe just a political thing, possibly.
Right. True.
I like the idea that this entire giant continent of creative people can release games on Steam,
Yeah.
And that's why I was asking her, like, is Steam like the new hot shit? Because
it's a global marketplace, right? So
yeah,
and so is I guess the iOS store too. I mean, right?
Yes, yeah. So the borders are kind of being broken down, and I don't know. I think it's really exciting because, I even said before, like Russia. Give me some Russian developers. Let's open the world.
I mean, we are getting that. I mean, we call it Eurojank, right? Sometimes we get the Swedes and the Poles making the silly stuff on Steam, but I love that they're in my library.
Eastern
I can't
European stuff.
Yeah, like
and,
I like all this stuff, but I didn't know what they were going to bring us. I think I know about the mobile market, but I didn't know what they were going to bring us for the PC and console market. And it sounds like after Wukong and Tencent investing, like we're going to be getting more and more quality games from different markets.
Well, sure.
So.
Well, that Delta Force game that Matt and I are crazy about, Tencent's behind that. They own Timmy Studios.
Tencent's everywhere.
Yeah, so I think obviously something's happening, and I think a lot of people on Steam are excited about Delta Force, and people who like me that like Call of Duty and Battlefield type games. So... But that doesn't feel like a mobile game, which I think it might be. But I think a lot of the stuff had mobile baggage that they were doing, like Genshin Impact and all that. You know?
The crossplay, like mobile PC, does have baggage. There's no baggage with Wukong outside of the shit that they try to create
That's
here.
why
right?
I said, okay, this is something new here. And even like with Stellar Blade with South Korea making console games where they typically made mobile games in the past too, those developers.
Yeah.
Because that Stellar Blade developer was involved in the mobile space, and so was the Wukong guys.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, no, this is good, and I thought it was fun.
It's funny, though, she said that the Wukong is a small team with 200 people. Astrobot was 60 people. So,
yeah,
just
but
saying.
That's proof. Like, you don't need a lot of people to make something good.
No, because the more people, again, it's like you try to make everyone...
20 people made Pal World.
You
right?
try to make everyone happy, you make no one happy. That's the danger of these giant teams, right? Is that...
I mean, you have a giant team of good people, but that doesn't.
Well, when you have thousands of people, you have. I think just by default, you start getting factions. Like.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like you've been saying for years, designed by committee and all that crap.
Yeah, no, I've always been against that. So.
But I mean, there are also isn't Nintendo like pretty big and they make.
No, I think they do a lot of stuff with small teams too, though.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo as a company is big, but I don't think that they have thousands of people working on them.
Breath of the Wild, like I don't know. I thought there was, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, so let us know what you thought of this. You can always come to our Discord. You can at Georgia. I believe she's Cat.
300 people worked on Breath of the Wild.
Cat Meemaw is
Michelle.
So 300 people. Yeah, see, this is crazy.
300 people worked on Breath of the Wild.
Make your team smaller, downsize, cut the fat.
Like, so how many people worked on Concord?
Oh my God, $100 million over 8 years.
Let's see. What? Okay, this is what Google says.
Google could be
around
wrong.
50,000 people were employed during the design, construction, and testing of Concorde.
And these studios also outsource.
Okay. Forget it. That's the Concorde fucking plane.
Okay, John. All right, we're leaving on that note.
Wait.
There's no recovering
I want
that.
the answer to this. I want to know how many people are working on Concorde.
Fix it in post.
No, I want to know.
Oh my God.
How many developers?
Too many. I know some of them were very vocal.
I bet you it was more than Breath of the Wild.
Probably. And look, as much as I didn't love the places they took, the latest Zelda games, there's no question that they were quality games and done well. And so you don't need a lot of people to do this shit.
Right.
Maybe, I think Sony's wiped it from the internet, all the Concorde
info. People are debating this now, saying that Firewall Studios might have had 4,000 employees.
I mean, that's still a lot to do that. I mean, where else did the $100 million
Everyone's debating
go?
this, though. Everyone's debating this topic, like on Reddit. They're saying, you're full of shit, you're lying.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the same thing with Blizzard. They said 8,000 people were involved in making Diablo 4. But the core teams are not that big, but they're way bigger than the 200 people that are making Wukong. I can tell you that, from firsthand knowledge. So we do have a problem here.
So Firewalk had 150 people working when Sony acquired them.
Right. But then what did they do with it?
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned it on the show, and now since Tuesday, Ubisoft is seriously in trouble. They're down 80%, and there's people buzzing that they may be sort of looking to sell. So
Phil,
I don't know. Phil, step in. All right.
All right,
bye.
guys. Listen, thanks for subbing, listening. Out. Bye.